hold on.
No problem.
All right.
Would you have ever thought, as a little girl, that you were going to be making a movie with your phone, sitting in your office, and having to adjust it, and learn how to be a director, and do all that? It was like, no way. You were thinking, I got to go outside and play. I'm really tired of being in the house. Right? That was like your biggest concern.
Right. It wasn't as, oh, is he gonna move? Do I have the framed right in my phone?
Is my phone going to do that? No, my phone's this big. It's tied to a wall. No.
Exactly. And previously you had mentioned how to address historic buildings and what to and what not to do.
When building in neighborhoods where, or just individual buildings, where a historic building is present or there's a historic character, what's important always is to try and determine what are the general principles of that make that place historic. Not the particular details, because when those buildings were built, they were built for a different time, and people with a different sensibility, and technologies of construction that are long gone, and materials that we probably can't get anymore or couldn't afford to do that way, even if we could get them, and expectations for life that are just different than what we have today. We live in a very modern world, and we need to build when we're making buildings in the same fashion, and we need to respect, just as they did, the principles that are in play today. But if you do, but doesn't mean you want to ignore that history and just sort of erase it or blot it out with something that would, in some fashion, that you would think in some fashion would be better just because it's new. That's not smart either. You want to respect what's there by paying attention to the characteristics that make it what it is, and to build on those characteristics, but with contemporary language. And so, when we built houses in New Orleans, in very historic neighborhoods, we never made houses that looked like little Victorian houses like the rest of New Orleans did, because this is not the Victorian era. We built modern houses, but our houses were the same width, they were the same length, they were the same height, they used the same building materials, they had very similar ratios of window to wall. We paid attention to all of the things that are the fundamental issues of house building in that part of the country, and then expressed it in a contemporary vernacular, in a contemporary language. Architects like to use words like language for what they do. In contemporary style is how we would describe it if you weren't talking to some sort of blithering idiot of an architect. Right? So we want to make it look like it's a modern building, but one that's really respectful to the past. Even the guidelines of the National Historic Preservation Organizations say, don't copy a historic building if you're adding on to it or you're working right next to it, because it neither respects the building because of what I just